not making this video as a cry for help, as a pity me video, as a I want attention because I'm dealing with something that like somebody else might not be dealing with. No, that's exactly not my intention for this video. My intention for this video is to spread awareness about my situation and about other people's situations. But this is my story, and I think I'm ready for you guys to finally hear it. My story starts when I was around 9 years old. I had just found out that my grandmother was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. I think it was esophageal cancer. Yes, I believe it was esophageal cancer. That was probably the most devastating, one of the most devastating things I have ever heard, if not the most devastating thing I've ever heard. I was saying the word close, describing my relationship with my grandmother and I, is completely false. She basically raised me alongside my parents. She was so close to me. I was her oldest granddaughter. I was her little darling. We were just extremely close. And to find out that she had less than a 20% chance of beating it was... On January 15th, 2013, my grandmother did end up losing her battle to cancer. And that was... I can't even say the words. There are no words to describe the emotion that I went through, not only when she passed away, but even as she was going through treatment, seeing her like get weaker and like not being able to do some of the things that she used to be able to do, and like really just like not being herself was extremely hard for me, because she's still the person that I look up to the most. I get most of my qualities from her, and like her bouginess, her just her etiquette, her unique style is what I think I pride myself most on getting from her. So that obviously took a very big emotional toll for me. And then about 6 months after her death, my parents did announce that they were getting a divorce. It was kind of like everything I had known my entire life was suddenly changing. So as that was going on, and as I started 5th grade, dealing with all of the things that I had been dealing with, I was still recovering from my grandmother's loss, now my parents' divorce, and helping both of my parents like be okay, and like worrying about my parents and about the house and stuff like that. I was getting teased very badly in school, to the point where it was bullying, and to the point where I would have panic attacks every single day. So basically, because I was getting bullied, I started having panic attacks. Now, for those of you who don't know, panic attacks are episodes that one may have where when they experience a state of anxiety, things in their body start to like malfunction. Like for me personally, my breathing gets short, my stomach will start to hurt, I'll feel lightheaded, I'll feel like I need to pass out. I will feel like I'm completely out of my own body and out of my own head and out of control. And that's basically what I was experiencing 2 to 3 times a day on a daily basis. And anybody who's had a panic attack knows that once a day can leave you exhausted. So having them 2 to 3 times a day was basically leaving me like empty. I spent almost all of 5th grade in the nurse's office because I was so scared to go to class. I wasn't eating. I lost so much weight. I feel like that's another reason why I'm so skinny still to this day. I think that's one of the reasons. And I still have issues with eating food, thinking that because I have a fear of getting sick, like vomiting, if I eat food, then I might get sick. It's not as bad as it's definitely not as bad as it used to be, but still there are moments where I'm like, am I safe to eat this here? Or like I won't eat out in restaurants because I'll be scared. So as I began to make the move from 5th grade to 6th grade to like middle school, I feel like things only got worse from there. The bullies, of course, went to the same school with me, so I still had to deal with them, as well as dealing with other people who didn't really... I feel like I'm a very hard person to understand. I have a very unique sense of personality. I have a unique style. I feel that my personality is something extremely unique, and that's something that there are not really words to describe, because sometimes I can be like serious, and sometimes I'm like sort of a badass, or like I try to be a badass. And then there's sometimes where I'm just like, I'm really, really sensitive, and sometimes where I'm just like all over the place, crazy, just trying to make people laugh. And I feel like that impulse in me is kind of what gets me into these kind of situations. So through 6th and 7th grade, I really began to struggle, and my anxiety really just worsened. I'd have to leave class all the time. I'd have to spend all the time in the nurse's office. And I think as much as people wanted to help me, they did not have experience with how to deal with somebody like me with anxiety. And I think the hardest part of having anxiety is when you need help, but nobody understands how they can help you, yet you don't even know how to help yourself. So as I finally reached towards the end of my middle school career, I had realized that I could no longer function properly in the school where I was. I feel like I was not getting both the mental health that I needed, both like the mental support that I needed, and both the physical support that I needed. So I decided to make the switch to private school system. I can honestly say the switch is something I will never regret. I absolutely loved my 8th grade school. There were moments at time where it was challenging, but I also feel like the school that I transferred to really began to heal me and really began to make me feel more like how I used to be. At the same time, my anxiety had not decreased nor really was going anywhere. And I feel like that's the hardest part, because you feel like, oh, I'm making all these changes to make myself better, yet my anxiety is not going anywhere. Finally, flash forward to now, I am in high school. I have a great group of friends. I have a great boyfriend. I feel like I really do feel like things have turned around for me, and I'm not trying to jinx it, and I'm not trying to say anything. And yes, I do have bad days, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But I also feel like I am finally in a place where not only am I accepted and where I feel like I belong, but where people appreciate my creativity and where people appreciate my personality, and I feel like that's the best feeling in the world. So that was kind of my backstory into my anxiety. Now I'm going to be talking about a little bit more what my anxiety is to me, because anxiety is not the same to every single person. Some people have mild anxiety, some people have worse anxiety than me, but I will say that a lot of mental health conditions go hand in hand. While they're not the same, they have similar symptoms. So this is basically just what I experience from a day-to-day basis. There's always the anxiety of like, oh, how did I do on a test? How did I do on this? How did I do on that? And for me, test anxiety, homework anxiety, and all around social situational anxiety is probably the worst anxiety for me personally, because when if I get a bad grade on a quiz or a test, I will literally lose my shit, because I just am like, I failed everything. Because when I was going through, I call it my dark ages, when my anxiety was first beginning, I used to get horrible grades, and I used to just feel so bad about myself, because I am a complete nerd. I want to do well in school. I feel like I have to do well in school. And when I see grades like that, I'm always just like, oh, I'm a disappointment. Like, anxiety is a lot about second guessing yourself, and I feel like that's the biggest thing that I will do. I will second guess myself, and I will put myself down when there's no particular reason to ever put myself down. So, talking about anxiety attacks a little bit. My anxiety attacks, again, usually occur after a situation has happened where something doesn't go right, or I am not in control of the situation, or the situation is giving me flashbacks to worse situations, which is common with my type of anxiety, PTSD. My anxiety attacks usually last between 10 to 15 minutes, and imagine hyperventilating for 10 to 15 minutes without really understanding how to control it. Although I have learned many great methods on how to control anxiety, but still sometimes when you're in your headspace where you're not really thinking straight, it's hard to recall those methods. But at the same time, I also feel like over the years I have done some great work with like groups and therapy and all different sorts of things to help control my anxiety and manage my anxiety. And I know that my anxiety isn't going away. It will probably never go away. It'll probably be here the rest of my life. That's most likely what's going to happen because there is no actual cure for anxiety. There are only methods to help it. But I feel like as I get older and as I mature a little bit more, I will learn more techniques to manage and control my anxiety. I feel like that's going to be really, really helpful for me. So anxiety is one of the leading causes in mental health in pretty much the entire world. More than 3 million people in the US each year are either diagnosed with anxiety or have signs of anxiety attacks. So many great organizations that help with anxiety and that help you deal with anxiety, and anxiety is also different for every single person. As well as anxiety goes undiagnosed in so many children and teenagers and adults because we are so caught up in our everyday lives that we don't get a chance to look back and really see like what is going on inside my head. So a lot of teenagers will experience anxiety in their lives and have no idea what it is because they're either not taught about it, they've never heard about it, or they don't know anything about it. I've been fortunate enough to be taught early about my anxiety and my mental health condition. I can now help and explain to other people what anxiety is and ways to management, as well as coping and really knowing that I can be a person that people can come to when they're having anxiety and other situations like this. Because I feel like it's easier to come to a person who has the same issues as you than to nobody who doesn't really understand, if that makes sense. So once again, anxiety is extremely common, and this is really something that a lot of people deal with and they don't realize what it is. And I've been fortunate enough to be able to find out about it and learn to deal with it. And while it is probably the biggest struggle in my life, I feel like it's also been an experience for me to learn and to grow and to be able to help other people. And that's all I really want to do. I want to be able to help other people. And really, I just wanted to make this video because I felt like I'm in a good enough of a place now where I'm okay talking about it. I really just hope that at least one person watching this will take something away from this video and that they'll understand that I'm always here and that they're not alone. And as cheesy as it sounds, I really do want to try and make a difference. Even if I'm only one person, it only takes one person. So that's it. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is really just a video about my story, and if you guys are willing, I'd love to hear yours. Well, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's video. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and I will see you lovelies later.
Never rich, so we were out to make that steady figure. Once I was 11 years old, my daddy told me, go get yourself a wife or you'll be lonely.